You don't take corporate PAC money?
I do not take corporate PAC money.
Just because you take a donation doesn't mean you have to listen or fall in line.
Yeah, but that's not been the case traditionally. A lot of representatives get there, and I mean, I'm not going to say any names, but I've been on the Hill and talked with lawmakers who say, yeah, take the money, why not? Well, if you're taking money from corporate PACs, let's say the institution like the banks, they're writing those policies for you to put out there and pass laws that are impacting people, the banks, the airlines, what have you, big pharma, agriculture. They're hurting the American people. And for those lawmakers who are taking that money, they're also voting in favor with those industries.
Do we have any
against the American people?
Do we have any lawmakers that have taken the money and have said no to the institutions?
I mean, I'm sure there have been and there are, but they're not getting. They're not getting those donations anymore from some of those industries. So I know that's the case. There are, just to be clear, there are good representatives out there who are doing the right thing for the people. That's why I have the phrase, you can't buy flowers.
And I remember that race a couple of years ago against Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was a big supporter of Donald Trump, and actually thought you were going to win that race. You gave her a real run for her money. You were on every major network. Talk about that race.
What drew me out of that was the death of George Floyd. Watching a law enforcement official callously murder a black man. Now, we'd heard about all the shootings. We watched Eric Garner get choked out. But that one was different for me. That jarred me. I started seeing what people were talking about in the country, what was going on that summer. Marjorie Taylor Greene came onto my radar. I had family in that district at that time. I saw some of the conspiracy theories and the dangerous things that she was putting out into the ether. I reached out to her. I said, hey, look, you gotta walk some of these things back. This isn't who we are here. If you're gonna represent us the right way. Fast forward to January 6th. I'd watched that summer of discontent in 2020. We'd gone through COVID and all the things, and I just saw the unrest in people and the division that kept growing and growing, and the bitter partisanship, the white hot rhetoric that was out there. To me, that all built up to January 6th, the big lie. I was sitting in my office that day, got TV on mute, and writing up a report, and I see what's going on at the Capitol, the citadel of our democracy. And I knew at that point in time I had to change the way I served. So on January 7th, 2021, I resigned my post as a government official to run for Congress against Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she helped push that big lie that drove those people to the Capitol.
That climate was very different, and you mentioned that there was a divide. Mm-hmm. But the area that you ran in, the divide was opposite of what you were feeling, of your motivation to get into that race. What was it like communicating to people that supported January 6th?
I come from the world of intelligence and electronics warfare. So I have a very unique understanding and I'd say a different perspective than most people have on disinformation and misinformation. So I saw, how foreign state actors, sometimes bad actors, wanted to play in our election and help divide people, just enemies of democracy. You hear those talking points in people.
Protect and defend, and in listening to you, that's all I hear coming out of your persona. Protect and defend. Why are those words so important to you?
I joined the Army at 18 years old, and I swore an oath to support and defend or protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. That was important to me. I was becoming, at that time, at 18 years old, a part of something that was larger than myself. serving the country. I understood that. I reaffirmed that oath many times over 3 decades of service to the country. That's always been important to me. It's always been pressed upon me that you serve at the pleasure of the American people. The Constitution and democracy in this country, as imperfect as it may be, is something that I believe that we need to defend and preserve.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the culture so that we can see that ideal America for us. Because you have a lot of people right now who don't want equality, who don't want us to come together because they feel that division is good for them. They feel that tearing us apart is good for them. Some of those are foreign state actors, but some of those are people right here who are inside the house dividing us. This is our civil rights movement. My generation's and your generation's civil rights movement. I think that's kind of where we are again. And we've had this conversation over and over again. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it damn sure rhymes.
But we repeat the same habits that they repeated during slavery. And I think that is still having an impact on our community today.
Oh, it absolutely does. In all of our institutions as well.
When you see the other side, they can have conflict, personal conflict, but at that particular time when it's time to rally together, and they'll drop their differences to the side.
We're talking the Democratic Party. It's a big tent party. I mean,
there you go.
And you have, and I believe that diversity of not only thought, but that diversity that we have in the party.
But that's going away.
I hope not.
It's going away because it feels like it's going away.
I hope not, because I think we need that. I think we need all of those ideas, but we have to sit down and negotiate in good faith.
I agree.
And come up with the best solutions for the people. Even before you start talking about bipartisanship, sitting down and negotiating in good faith with Republicans, we got to be able to do it in our own house, Democratic Party.
The National Democratic Party wouldn't allow for other voices to debate the current president. That's not democracy.
I mean, there's always going to be dissent within our ranks.
Where are the people that are going to stand up and say, no, this is not the way we should do things? It's best to hear all the voices and bring all the voices to the table.
You're speaking to a person who agrees with that sentiment. I think we should have those debates within our house, but when it's time to, rally around a candidate, we kind of got to take a page from the Republican books and say, majority rule. There is no monopoly on the good idea fairy.
Yeah.
Best ideas win. We used to be the role models of how elections were done. We should go out and preach this all over the world. I was part of that on governance contracts in Iraq when we were trying to teach them how to conduct elections. I was there. We were the gold standard. We got to get back to that.
Your theme, built for the fight, that is a great theme.
I've been on those debate stages, looked MAGA right in the eye, getting trolled left and right on, Twitter and Instagram, and pushing back against that disinformation and misinformation. One of the things people have to understand is this isn't a problem that's going away. My 30 years of service has prepared me for this type of fight. A natural bridge builder. Those are the type of representatives that we need.
With respect to David Scott, every election, he has multiple challengers. Why do people continually challenge David Scott?
He's voting in favor for them, voting against things like Dodd-Frank, which would, help our people. I mean, he's voted against John Lewis, and I'm a boy from Troy, Alabama, the birthplace of John Lewis. I respected him immensely. He was my icon. But just look at how many times Mr. Scott voted opposite of John Lewis and voted with corporate PACs and with lobbyists. I'll be beholden to the people, which is what I've done my entire career. You've had several of his colleagues recommend or ask that he step down.
And why is that?
One, he is probably, or he was named one of the 25 most corrupt politicians there were. That's fact. Marcus Flowers saying it, look it up. He's one of the top 25 most corrupt. But his colleagues have been asking him to retire. They're saying things like, over the last several years, he's become diminished and it's tough for them to watch. But you can also look at his contributions from MAGA, like Kelly Loeffler and her billionaire husband's PAC. They've given him tens of thousands, about hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Koch brothers. These are the same people who were funding Donald Trump. Are you really in it for the people at this time? Those are the things that I look at.
So what will you bring to the 13th? It's been a long time under David Scott. It looks like from the outside that he may have support in the 13th, but you never know until Election Day. What will you bring to the 13th that he didn't bring?
Well, I'm gonna just say this is, again, this fight for me, this race for me, I'm in it for the same reasons I was in it before when I ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's about our democracy. It's about giving people, not corporations, a voice. For all the yard signs that we see of David Scott scattered all over the district on every street corner, what we don't see is David Scott out among the people.
Tell me about the right to choose and why that's so important too.
When we talk about reproductive health, and we see for the first time with the overturning of Roe, rights being taken away. Democrats have to win the House. They have to keep the Senate. And we have to codify Roe, giving women a right to choice.
Do you think the economy has performed well under this current administration?
I think it has performed well. You look at inflation coming down. It's down to 3.6, 3.4%. The issue that people are having right now with the economy is cost. They're starting to come down in this last month, but still a lot of work needs to be done.
See that at all.
People are hurting it in their wallets. Gas is coming down right now. Wages are going up in some places, not all places. They're meeting that demand, but that's something that we need to work on. I hear this day in and day out from voters. It's cost. It's cost. It's cost. So,
talk about health care. Is Medicare and Medicaid is a state issue, but are they going away?
I have a 90-plus-year-old grandmother who, and other parents who are aging that depend on it. Just like our Social Security, they're wanting to cut that as well, or get rid of it, or privatize it. Not on my watch. These aren't handouts. These are benefits that we've earned. Our seniors deserve to have peace of mind. And guess what? Here in Georgia, that money is there to protect Medicaid. It's there. But you look at right now, and the state's dropped, 500,000 people from the rolls? Come on.
Is America falling behind with respect to education?
Yes, that's difficult for me to say. At the university level, we're still number one.
But everybody doesn't have that opportunity.
Everybody doesn't have that opportunity. We also, my daddy taught shop for 36 years at high school in Cedartown. So I'm really keen on making sure that our young people know that there are other paths to making a good living besides going to college and acquiring a whole bunch of debt. We need to focus on civics once again in this country, getting our kids a good civics education so that they understand how our government works and that they get engaged in the process. Mm-hmm. We need to focus on the history of this country and giving an accurate and true account of our history.
Another important topic, particularly in this election, would be immigration.
I think we all understand that our immigration system's broken. We need those judges down at the border. We need to fix it. And there was a bipartisan plan on the table until Republicans decided to play politics with it because Donald Trump decided, we need to keep this issue on the table in this election because it helps me. I think we need to stop playing politics with immigration and actually do the work, sit down, and fix it. You know, we can't play politics with that issue any longer. I'm running to not only protect our democracy, and preserve it, but do the work to fix it.